I call it energy exchange because it goes and value. It goes beyond just what we call money, because money is a symbol of what we are doing, you see. So money comes like a natural result. It's a symbol. It's deriving from the value that we bring through what we do.
Biz Culture. This is the podcast about the meaning of concepts in business.
And since I'm, taking a different angle, which is basically I'm interviewing or having a conversation, not very formal conversation, but more deeper conversation with the people I am collaborating with. I think it would be interesting to share the story how we actually met and how we came across to that decision to collaborate. Um, would you like to share your perspective, how you actually meet, how we actually meet? And
Well, I mean, you booked an appointment through a mutual friend of mine who's also a client. And we had an interesting exchange where the end result looks as it looks today, where we are collaborating together to bring into existence cross collaborations with people in Lithuania and maybe also in future vice versa. So it's all about expansion. Our session evolved into an entrepreneurship in itself.
yes, it's so strange. Like, I was just like visiting a friend in Malta, like, taking holidays basically, and just I have felt the sense that it would be interesting to meet a person who actually working with the energies and just like, to have a conversation or to have a particular energy next to me to answer my kind of questions, which I'm holding inside of myself. So, but I didn't expect that expansion of the our meeting, which brings us here and now talking about the collaboration. So it's such a quick manifestation of like in reality that is wow.
Well, it aligns very much to what I told you before you left my space at the end of the session. Bring value to this session. And here is the value. The value is here in the expansion and the manifestation of something that is very heart-centered and focused on the value factor, value that the people are going to bring to the people and to themselves through the competencies that are very heart-centered.
Actually, I'm so glad that you mentioned that value of the conversation, if I may say that, because this podcast mission basically is to show what kind of value we can bring just by exchanging the perspectives and just being in that moment, and what kind of strong connection can elaborate during this 1 hour or 45 minutes. It's basically our purpose as well. So since this podcast called Biz Culture, and it's the meaning of concepts in business, I would like to ask you a question, or like ask you to tell me a bit more of your why you do what you do actually, and maybe a bit of, a short intro, what you actually do, as a spiritual entrepreneur.
Wow. You see, it's a journey. It's been a journey. The interest has always been there since I was 13 years old. There has been an affinity with the esoteric, an affinity with spirituality, an affinity with nature, an affinity with other people, a fascination with what is there beyond what we see and this three-dimensional sphere that we live in. Somehow, from a very young age, I questioned these aspects, and it always stayed with me. I guess that having certain difficulties being understood growing up at times, or, parents always have the best interest from their perspective and from their knowledge and from what they know. They always give us the best that they give us, and the conditions that we are raised about, the cultural conditions, the religious conditions, all these things can impact us in a variable manner. I'm not saying they are wrong and I'm not saying they are right. I'm just saying that maybe I didn't appeal to them, or they didn't appeal to me, or I didn't really feel the connection. And so I stayed with my spirituality and it grew. And again, what is spirituality, right? You are spirituality. So it grows with you, the things that help you to evolve. And these things varied on the journey as well. Like I was a teacher for so many years, I was also a student, a traveler. I left my country. I went to the United States. I lived there for a while as an au pair. I was exploring, because this is what spirituality was to me. It was an exploration of self through different things that I got involved in. I moved again then when I returned, stayed here for a while, explored different trajectories spiritually and also educationally, academically. I studied massage therapy, getting in contact with the body, lived in London for almost 5 years and connected with spirituality at another level, completely out of my comfort zone, a stranger in a very big city, tuning in, making new connections, evolving in the process. Your experiences lead you into the direction of your spirituality. Of course, we have
Yeah.
choices because everything
Yeah.
is founded on the choices that we make. And I would say the life experience itself led me to the spiritual entrepreneurship, having gathered a lot of information from different courses, different experiences, different pathways that I chose. They became everything that I do today. And I've integrated all these things from teaching yoga to students to also teaching people to become yoga teachers. So I am a forever student, I say, because I upgrade myself every year. I evolve through the practices themselves. So I may do another course in the yoga sphere. I have done so. I have studied yoga therapy, yoga alignment, hatha yoga. I did Kundalini yoga. I've studied Kriya yoga, Himalayan Kriya yoga. So it goes on and on. These are a study, and of course, you make them yours, and then you transmit your uniqueness through the practices. Aromatherapy, another study that evolved and that I include in all my practices because of the profound effect it has on our nervous system. Meditation, mindfulness, plant medicine, the safer kind. I use cacao So I share
Mhm.
cacao with others. When I have to talk about myself,
It's
it becomes
never-ending learning journey.
yes, because I'm not used to talking about myself in this way. I just do what I do with a passion for it and for the evolution in myself, for the deep love I have for what I do. Recently, last year, um, uh, I did a beautiful course that led me to Kundalini activation. And it was the last thing I did last year. And it just evolved and expanded and allowed me to do my sound healing sessions, to collaborate with other people, to work with Akashic readers as well, um, through the process. So it put me in a position where I could see how vital it is to collaborate with others. So I projected myself completely in the spiritual entrepreneurship in 2018 when I left my teaching job completely. I left what we call the matrix. And I went full on in a market that was, I won't say elusive, but I will say a little bit blurry for some. So you say yoga, they say, flexibility. I can't do yoga because I need to be flexible. So there are all these notions that exist when we talk about certain things. So if I say meditation, they imagine, somewhere in India, you need to go meditate, you need to go, the way it is perceived by people who don't understand what you're talking about until you explain it to them, slowly, carefully, with compassion for their lack of knowledge, because they don't have the knowledge. It's not their fault. This is why they ask questions. And um, to to let me just to come back to it, in the sphere of people who don't understand, yet there is still a curiosity, you
I mean,
see.
well, I see this. It's not like lack of knowledge, but it's a different perspective or different approach because
Yes, a
each
different approach,
word,
but
each
also a lack of knowledge. There's also a lack of knowledge. I will say there is a lack of knowledge because some people tell me, what is meditation exactly? Especially people who are very devoted to their religion. They associate meditation with another religion, which is not the case. I tell them meditation is like a form of prayer. Like when you pray in church and you're quiet and peaceful in your heart, you can create that same stillness by just breathing gently inside yourself.
Mhm.
So the concept, like you're saying, it's a lack of knowledge because it is compared to
it,
another
it,
religion.
it's culturally constructed, especially in what kind of social groups you are in, and
Mm-hmm.
this term meaning have the form in that particular, the group. So
Mm-hmm.
it's like sometimes people don't have maybe a patient, or they're scared, or for other reasons they don't go into the deeper understanding of the meaning of this word,
Mm.
and then this kind of shows that the lack of knowledge from the perspective of the people who actually living through this the spirituality world. So I think it's like it's good actually that the people curious to know, so it's so that we actually can understand different perspectives, different angles of how we can see the same thing, and maybe look for a communication, a more of like understanding each other, although
Common
we are
ground.
still
Mm.
so fascinating. Fascinating. I mean,
Yes,
listen.
it is. It is fascinating because it's interesting how then for team building activities. More modern structured companies understand that stress is one of the major factors that impact the performance of a person at work. And so they invite yoga teachers to come and do yoga in their office buildings, or they create team building activities where they group people and have a meditation session. So there is an awareness growing in the world that we live, where people are actually seeing the benefit of these Eastern traditions being brought to the West more and more.
Raising the standards for your role, social role, or the identity you build for yourself. So I'm really glad for that. Another thing which I kind of, wanted to ask you is that you mentioned in so many different, qualifications that, learn a lot. I felt it like, wow, I don't have that much, and it sounds like you're, the expert, and I'm a bit like, feeling that I don't know that much as you do, and it's like, I'm subconsciously putting you onto the pedestal, and maybe I don't need to do that, because usually in the business world, yes, the title is everything, and if it's a managing position, or head of top of the department, or the corporation, it's like it already gives you that stress, and to talk to these people. But should we be afraid of this title? What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I understand where this actually can also happen in the spiritual world, where people can gurufy others. I don't completely agree with it, because I believe in our industry, um, everybody is on his own journey, and if somebody comes to me for a session or to participate in an event, they are on their own spiritual journey, but we're sitting down as equals in a space. I am not anyone better than anybody myself. When I speak about myself, I don't know if it's like this all over the place, because I see and I read about gurus that fall from grace. So, I mean, in the same way, we also see big business titles fall from grace as well. So I think this is more about when people lose their principles, the values that they hold near and dear, for money or for power, or when what they do is no longer heart-centered, you see. So this is how I see it. I see it from this perspective. If something becomes only about personal gain, then of course it loses its heart-centered focus. And after all, if we're talking about guiding people, or being supportive, then we're creating links, like in collaborations. There's no, I have a more qualification than you have more qualification. No, we have our beautiful competencies, whatever they are, and we're sharing these with others as a group. So this is how I see it. Even when I host a session, I let everybody know that there is no hierarchy, and that I'm just sharing what I know, and I'm listening to what they know and how they feel and what they want to share in the group setting as well.
Mm. It just reminds me of the somewhere on, reels, I heard that we are not the humans having spiritual experience. We're spiritual beings having human experience.
Correct.
So it's just like we probably need to keep this in mind, where we're actually creating the relationships. Doesn't matter in the business or in social life, our social life, but to heart to hearts, it's this is what keeps us the spiritual in this context.
Yes. And I hear a lot, and because this can happen in every industry, and I don't think that people should be punished in the sense, okay, everything justice needs to be brought in situations where it needs to be brought, but I believe we don't need to condemn everybody in these fields because there have been some people who allowed power and money to get to their heads in all fields and spheres. I think that we can safely allow ourselves to not really judge, and explore with an open heart and mind.
This actually raised me another question for you, is that, could you just share your perspective and, from your experience, what is actually important for you in the context of the business relationships?
Value.
How
Do
you
it
define that
value.
value? How you define that value? Like,
Value is what people come to a session, for example, and that session has an energy exchange. Of course, because we live in a physical world that requires us to offer a service that we can pay our bills from, sure. But the value is not in the monetary exchange. The value is in the essence of the exchange, what the person received. And the reward is not the financial reward from myself, but seeing that person take what they receive and integrate it into their life, or take what they want from it. Not take, they don't need to take it all. If they take something and that something they integrate helps them to expand and elevate from the situation they came to me with, that for me is my value.
Biz Culture. This is the podcast about the meaning of concepts in business.
Does that make sense on that level?
that's I think, for listeners, it's a strong words, which needs to be digested and maybe think through, or like, just to stay with what just you said, because we sometimes forget that the value we create is much more important than the money we get.
I
And
don't say more important. I think, like I say, it's a symbol. Money is a symbol. The dharma, which is the purpose will give you the symbol. It's like breathing. It's the energy you're putting in what you're doing. It's not the physical retention of something. It's more, it will come, the money, as we call it in this world. The reward is the essence. It's what you're passionate about that you're sharing. There is the value. Even in the collaborations, when they're always heart-centered, heart-focused, like you feel the energy. I want to collaborate with that person. I feel the energy, And then we need to talk about the three-dimensional stuff. There is the value in the exchange, first and foremost, not the three-dimensional stuff, if you know what I mean.
if you want to elaborate more on that, I think listeners would love to hear, in short.
Yes, of course. I mean, first and foremost would be understanding that who we are collaborating with is open and receptive to the essence of what we are doing. Ideally, we understand, well, my principle is I do what I do because it brings value to others. And the value to me is the fact that I can do what I love and that I do it so well. When you find what you know how to do and you let it kill you. And that you do it well because you see how it is received. That is value. And then we can talk about everything else, so that people have the same ideal. When I collaborate with people, I like that people have this ideal at heart. It's all about bringing value to others and that they value what they do and sharing that.
Mm.
And then the money is there as well, like you can state your fee, what you want to receive as a collaborator, or we can come to a form of agreement, or we can partner up, or we can share, whatever works, But the primary essence is the value that we're bringing to the cause. That is essence, in my opinion.
It's it's really sounds like, spiritual entrepreneurship. And since you call yourself a spiritual entrepreneur, could you maybe elaborate a bit more and what the social role represents in the business context?
I suppose it's because I do so many different things. I mean, I'm a project manager in a way because I have events every week. So I'm organizing events. I write my own content. I share my own content. I have some people who we work together, like they support me, I support them. It's an energy exchange, not a monetary exchange. So it's an exchange of talent, where they help me um, to market my work online, or to prepare set templates, or to upgrade my website, and to do whatnot, which I don't know how to do. I'm very good at content writing and organization and setting up presentation. So I do have certain skill sets aside from my spiritual entrepreneurship, because I was a teacher, but that is a one factor that sticks with me. I was a teacher for almost 25 years, and I still teach through the spiritual entrepreneurship.
It's
So
basically the structure of how you organize your work is basically the same as classical entrepreneurship is. It's just it's in the field of the spirituality. It's a different kind of value you create with your work. Because usually, the spirituality, I don't know, sometimes when I talk with people in business, and when you mention the keyword energy or spirituality, they just like, whoa, 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 whoa. Let's talk science. Let's be realistic and don't talk about what's like we don't see, it's illusion. So it's nice to clear that it's still the business. It's just a
it
different,
needs a
probably.
structure. Everything has a model, but then, of course, in the model itself, like I said, there are energy exchanges where people bring value to each other without using money, but creating opportunity for each other. And that has a value also. So I'm not saying that money is not important, don't get me wrong. I'm saying it is important, it has a value, it is a symbol that comes from the value that we bring to our lives and to the lives of others through what we do.
Hmm. So what actually new perspective your field could offer for, classical businesses?
What would I offer? It would depend on what they are willing to explore. Some companies on corporate events would be willing to explore monthly team building activities that resonate with yoga practice, or with a meditation in a group setting, or
Mm.
nature walks, hikes, sound healing. These are very nice aspects. Relaxation therapy like yoga nidra. Kundalini activation is an energy alignment session that brings people into a space where they would lay down and they would have an experience, a very individual experience. They don't have to know how to do anything really, just to lay down there and to receive and be open and ready to receive. So it all depends on what the human resources are willing to explore. understanding the needs of the employees for the team building activities.
Could you name a couple of the benefits the businesses could take out of the
I
experiences
wrote a whole paper about
Ooh.
this. I wrote a whole paper about this. I did a research about it actually, because I know that the number one factor I was an employee. I also sat in an office. I have a lot of experience in the matrix. From my personal experience, sitting at a desk, posture issues, stress, anxiety, performance anxiety, the need to accomplish, the need to meet deadlines, all these elements can cause a human being or a spiritual being having a human experience to melt down, So
Yeah.
including mindful practices, meditation practices, yogic practices, and energy alignment practices like sound baths or Kundalini activation sessions in a person's monthly schedule, like massage as well, can help to alleviate the repercussions of being in a workforce that is highly demanding and highly stressful.
Yes.
The performance is affected. So, I mean, if you're offering your employees once a month a therapy, a spiritual therapy at the end of the day, their performance is going to improve, which means your business is going to improve. So it's value, it works two ways.
Yeah, it's nowadays it become hectic to actually work and have a family and have a social life, and it's like everything is in timing and scheduling, and it's like in the end of the day you're still tired and you wake up tired. So it's people kind of involved in so much stressful activities that they're starting to lose themselves. The bunch of people using like antidepressants and yoga and all these kind of exercises is booming, but just because of the such a high need of how to calm ourselves down in the stressful situations, because where we're heading, especially in what's happening in the world, the context to see and to hear in the news or internet, it's very stressful to be in that flow of information, and how to actually detach yourself from this is, I think, what people still trying to find the ways how to do it, in more
Consistent, yes.
Mm.
Consistently. I mean, some people think having a glass of wine or a beer is going to be a relaxing thing, but the thing is, it has a negative impact on the physical body in the long run. Doing it every day to de-stress and decompress. Or I'm not demonizing people who have a drink, or people who smoke marijuana, or people who use recreational drugs, but I feel it's like putting a plaster on a gangrenous wound at the end of the day, when in reality we want to peel away the layers through a practice of stillness that enables us to find out at a deeper level who is my true self, beyond what I know and the conditions of my culture and the conditions that I was raised in. Who am I really? And what do I really like? Not what was told to me to like, but what do I truly like? Who am I? This is a big question nowadays, I would say, not just nowadays.
It also reflects on our relationships, where we actually lacking of intimacy, and the intimacy is not created through the fakeness or like illusion of your avatar when you're having fun and drinking and partying. This is like it's not you. It's just like your mask, which you put just because it's
Which I
convenient,
know.
maybe, or the only way. I'm not sure, but
It
I
is.
think.
Most of the people I meet who come to me for private sessions as well. So, it's very interesting. Yesterday I was at the petrol station. I went to fuel up, And there was this guy who I see sometimes, and the last time I saw him, I gave him a piece of Palo Santo, which is a holy wood you light, and it clears the energy space. It's also very uplifting. Its fragrance is extremely uplifting. And in shamanism, I call this a plant spirit. So I like to use this in my sessions. And I had a small piece because he told me I'm feeling really down. And I said, here you go, take this, light it up, and just, see how you feel. And he told me, I've been waiting to see you to tell you, you know how good I felt with that piece of wood. I got myself another one. What do you do? Where can I find you? I want to talk about how I'm feeling because I feel like there's much more to this life. So I see a lot of people are curious and understanding that there are things beyond their knowledge and wisdom and their experience in this sphere that they would like to explore. We are all raised in culture, condition. As you said, you're an anthropologist, so you're very familiar with this. And you understand, I'm not studious, it's my experiences that have shown me, and also myself questioning. I'm here because I kept on questioning what didn't resonate.
It's still, I noticed that people are afraid of unknown, and this field is unknown because it's not tangible, it's not related, it can be accounted, like, with numbers and proof of science and researches. It's a known place, but as you see, as you showed from the example, is basically you just need to try it in a particular,
Yes.
situation to experience it. So how people can, I don't know, cope or fight that fear of, of fear of unknown, and take a step, you know, towards their curiosity, try it out.
I think curiosity is always the best way to be curious, to maintain a curious heart, not a curious mind, because the mind wants to control everything. The reason we're afraid is because we're thinking and comparing with something that we know. Curiosity is like a child who doesn't know what's behind the corner. He's going to go have a look, you know? So approaching this kind of practice, whether it's meditation or taking some deep breaths to create stillness with a little bit of curiosity to get your feet wet and to see what you resonate with, because some people will resonate with aromatherapy. Some people will resonate with herbalism. Some people will resonate with oracle cards. Some people will resonate with walking on the earth. Some people will resonate with meditation. Everyone will resonate to what they feel the most curious about, or these are gateways into spirituality, the most simple and tangible gateways, the most spoken about, the most easily accessed. Yes. Then, of course, I mentioned teachers. You will find a teacher. I have had many teachers. I have explored many modalities in the same fields. And I'm friends with some of the teachers as well. This is community. So even just going to an event where you know there might be something to explore and you go with an open mind, this is a nice gateway. Community.
There are safe ways to do that, which is you mentioning the community where you have a support and safe space to actually experience that, like, these things. But it's also, I think, when you're mentioning, like, following your curiosity, I would probably add your weird curiosity. It's like, because usually when you have a curiosity, you're questioning, wow, that was weird. Why I want that, It's just like, it doesn't make sense. So do you agree with me on that? Or maybe you have a different
I
point of
wouldn't
view?
call it weird. I would just call it curiosity. I'd say I'm
Okay.
curious about something. I wouldn't label it. I mean, I'm deep down the rabbit hole, so nothing is really weird to me anymore. You know, I think it's more about resonance. And then Resonance means that we feel, because even if we're not spiritual, we feel. Think about it. People will go to a party and say, I don't like the vibe here, I'm leaving. What's this? You help them to understand that vibe you're feeling is actually your auric field sensing it's not comfortable and you're listening to it. That's your intuition, you know? So helping people to understand how their everyday language and notions actually are part of their spirituality. We are spiritual beings having a human experience. We cannot get away from our spirituality. We can find resonance in something that calls us, that makes us feel curious. So for me, it was crystals. When I was 13 years old, I was like, I went past the shop. I smelled this weird smell and I went into the shop and I wouldn't leave. And I spent the whole day in that goddamn shop with that lady, talking to her, playing with her crystals. And she brought out a tarot deck and I was like, my mother said, this is the devil. I'm curious.
Dear listeners, we invite you to contribute financially to the Best Culture podcast. Your support will help us acquire the necessary communication software and improve the quality of our audio recording. We hope to reach wider audiences and bring like-minded people together under one roof. We really need your help to achieve this faster and more efficiently. You can make your contribution directly via PayPal or by clicking the Support Us button at our SoundCloud profile. You can find more information in the description below. We really are thankful for your support and for listening to the Best Culture podcast right now. Contribute today and help people's different perspectives merge into one.
You know, I took it to another level.
That's
it
a
was
very strong curiosity.
these little things. I was 13, a rebellious dirtbag. Very curious, always curious, still curious.
So it's around what, 30 years old? 30 years of the, in this
13,
field?
I was 13, 1-3. I was 13 years old when the first time I got involved with all these things.
So you started from 13, but right
Yes.
now you're a different age. So it's like,
Yes.
was
Yes,
the journey like,
and
in
it's
the
just
years?
been a combination.
So it's like 30 years of experience of in this field, basically,
Yes.
or
I say 28
searching.
years.
Maybe you can share some of the lessons we as a humanity need to still learn, since you saw the evolution. 30 years is a lot.
Yes.
And maybe you saw, what kind of patterns or changes we are heading and where we still need to do some changes for the future.
Accountability is the word in every aspect. We need to embrace what we don't like about ourselves, our lives, what we don't resonate with, become accountable for it, and accept the presence of anything that we aren't comfortable with anymore, rather than stay in it because we are familiar with it. And this is how we can explore ourselves and the life beyond the paradigm that we're living in so comfortably in discomfort.
Accountability.
We are spirituality, and it's through accountability that we can explore ourselves on another level.
And this affects our relationships as well in any context, I believe so, because it's a
For sure.
decision-making power, which is the key, especially in the management positions, in the in the doing business. And in
You know who Carl Jung is? Carl Jung.
Carl Jung.
Jungian philosophy.
Yes.
Jungian philosophy. Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Every relationship that we have in business, in friendship, with parents, with colleagues, is a direct reflection of the relationship that we have with ourselves, which we have built through how we were raised in our settings. And accountability factor comes through these experiences, how we relate to our romantic partners, how we relate to our friends, how we behave with them. Maybe we might need to account for a perspective of lack, insufficiency, thinking always we don't have enough, for example. This scenario, we can either keep living in it and work ourselves to the bone and keep doubting that everything we do is enough, or we can look at it and identify, embrace the shadow aspect and choose to look at ourselves differently by taking a different course of action. This is spirituality.
Like, get real, own your shit, and just do your life, live your life.
Yes, so
Live
you're
your
not living
life.
by the conditions of what you saw, what you heard, what impressed you, what remained embossed in your energetic pattern.
Of course, there is a process of learning, we usually learn. And that's why in the
Yes.
business we have mentors where we, they facilitate our journeys and all this. But, any kind of musician who is singing by the cover, sometimes they need to sing their own style and their own, songs. So
Like stereotype has to die completely, and we need to identify with who we are as individuals, because we have a pattern, a unique pattern, and we don't need to try to be anything but that unique pattern, you see.
the stereotypes I see as the comfort zone. In society terms, is the comfort zone where we basically acting by default, and we have, like, behavior protocol. And if something wobbles us, we,
We
going
get
into the
anxious.
courts, or
Mhm.
like, into the conflicts. But it's actually, do we actually need to have that conflict? Maybe
I
we
think
just
I
be
think
pushed to
little
a change.
change is necessary, and accountability will make change.
Mm.
Accountability, acceptance, but with compassion. We cannot be rough with ourselves and critical and harsh. That's the reason why we are in the scenarios we are in, and why we are so rigid, maybe, and why we don't explore, and why we limit ourselves. So accountability with compassion, with humility, with love and kindness with ourselves, because this is how we will relate to others in the same way. If I'm going to be rigid with myself, then I'm probably going to be rigid with other people also. If I'm going to be judgmental with myself, I'm going to be judgmental also with others. Maybe not in their face, but I will have my perceptions which I will internalize.
And then project onto other
Exactly.
people, and
So
then it's
it just becomes a vicious circle, which is why accountability and acceptance through a compassionate demeanor are the tools to a spiritual journey, I believe.
and as I know you, and since we are working on the collaboration, you're actually going to bring accountability experience, or at least in touch, or the experience where you actually can get in touch to your accountability in April, because you're coming to Lithuania.
Yes, I am. I'm going out of my comfort zone by coming to Lithuania. I'm exploring beyond my space is of comfort. I've never been to Lithuania. I have a couple of Lithuanian friends, and I said that this year, 2024, I told you this when we had met, that I want to explore what it would be like to collaborate with others away from here and extend my service, which I feel very close to my heart, with other people.
Expand that collaboration circle
Yes.
and maybe inspire others just to follow this path. So
Yes.
what do you bring for Lithuanian people? Could you just shortly give us a teaser?
First of all, unity, because it's nice to create a space which is safe for others to feel comfortable to join in. Collaboration with some beautiful spiritual people sharing their sound healing, and I bring my ability to share Kundalini activation process. We call it CAP, KAP, and my mediumship skills and wisdom that comes from oracle readings and channeling messages for the right moment for the persons involved, for the information that is required. This is not something that I plan, or it just comes through according to who is in front of me. So it's a spiritual connection, a direct spiritual connection that will enable me to assist someone who needs to hear something, maybe to take a course of action in their life if they want to, or to inspire them into a place of self-discovery.
Could you just briefly explain what kind of processes the person can actually go through this experience?
Through the Kundalini activation.
Kundalini,
Okay.
or the
If we're having a chat, usually in a group setting, and I'm drawing or a card, or I'm asking people to share their experience, then like I do in a private session with you, I'm able to connect with them and to it's called claricognance. It's a knowing, how to guide a person, what to express to them, to inspire them to think about or to feel into what is happening in the moment. That is when we are exchanging energy information here. And the Kundalini activation process is a little bit different. This is a process where people will be lying down with their eyes covered with an eye mask, and they will be having an experience through the music and me holding the field for them. Without there being a hierarchy, it's like they are in a field where they will be receiving information which they will be processing differently depending on how much they are able to surrender in the session. So the key to receiving is surrender. So I will coach them with some breath work, some kriyas before, to help ground them, to help them to relax a little bit, to free up some of the nervous energy that may be pent up in their physical bodies. And then they will lay down, they will be receptive. And some people have a physical experience where their body moves. Some people have an emotional experience where they cry or laugh. Some people have a visual experience, auditory experience, or some people have a very still experience. No one's experience is ever the same, and no activation is ever the same. So if they come for an activation this time and they come for another activation 2 weeks later, they will not have the same experience, because we are never the same as well.
constantly changing.
And it's contact through life, it's vital energy, which is life force energy.
Usually we need
Entering,
to do something, which push us to do, to make a decision. to be active, I'm guessing, with
Exactly.
energy.
It's non-dual, so it's not a forced activation like a Kundalini awakening, which can happen usually guided by a Kundalini yoga practitioner. This is a non-dual action where it's coming from the crown area, the energy. What I can do is I can send some literature about this, maybe to attach.
Yeah, we definitely can share, like, with the listeners, the resources where they actually can dig deeper into
Yes, because it's
this
quite, I
process.
don't want to confuse or complicate with language
For sure.
barriers as well. I think it would be more interesting if a person could read something. For sure, the benefits are stress relief, anxiety relief, spaciousness. Some people have reported extreme changes in their lives after a session, just one session of activation, where um, trauma releases. It's also a somatic experience because the body holds a lot of trauma in it. Some of this trauma cannot even be labeled anymore because so much time has passed. And trauma doesn't necessarily mean somebody experienced severe violence. Maybe somebody as a child had a fright, went into a room, and this fright stayed with them and inhibited them from taking a chance, maybe, you see. So this would be stuck somewhere in the physical body. And through the Kundalini activation process session, this energy moves and the person is suddenly free of this condition. It's quite interesting.
It's actually very useful, especially when you're looking for a new clients, or you're trying to get in touch with the people you wish to have, but you keep postponing, or just, like, in the freeze mode, and not doing anything. So it's everything energy. It's like, we call it motivation or inspiration, but it's energetically
And it's
experienced.
yours. It's
Yeah.
all yours. I'm not doing anything. I'm just holding the field, and you are having the experience that you need there and then. So
Amazing.
it's really beautiful. It's like Reiki. Reiki is a transmission as well. I am a Reiki practitioner also, and this is similar. Just I would say that Kundalini activation process is like Reiki on steroids.
It's a pumped up session.
Yes, it is.
Amazing. We cannot wait to see you and to have you, actually. I believe that Lithuanians are really, really need to be shake it off, all that, dirt, and the negative thoughts, and depressions, and to actually fully
It's
step
great
in
for that.
into their inner power, and to be courageous, as we try to advertise, Lithuania. So we cannot wait to
Oh,
to
nice.
have you.
And combining it with sound healing, amazing. It's like, it's such a beautiful combination.
It has how to say, triggering all your five senses,
Your
and
sixth
it's
one as well.
well, in the human, usually used senses is probably five, the main ones, but yeah, six senses, I think,
Yeah. Do you feel vibes when you go into a room?
for sure,
Yeah,
for
that's your
sure.
sixth sense. It exists.
Ah,
It's not
okay,
accountable, but there it is.
okay. I thought that you need to basically reach, go through manageable,
No, it's
manage
there.
all those fives, and then you reach the six.
We're all there.
Okay. Good to know. Good to know. That's, it's already there. You just need to use it.
Yes, needs exercise. It's a muscle.
Rebecca, our actually conversation going to the end, and usually in the end, I still want to keep it the game which the previous guests were playing. And this game is actually comes from my social anthropology research and the methodology I used. This method is called free listing. It's a cognitive anthropological method used to identify the priorities or the meanings we have associated with the particular words. So, if you may, I would love to give you a word, and then you just what first words will come into your head. Just spit it, just like
All right.
doesn't need to make sense. Just like carry on.
Let's.
Okay. So the first word, which I would like to call, is value.
Energy exchange.
Any more, or it's only energy exchange?
The first thing that comes to my head is energy exchange, is wealth, it's abundance, it's prana, life force, value,
Wow,
life.
very good. Let's keep that intensity for our words as well. And the second one is the collaboration.
Unity, harmony, balance, expansion, elevation, growth, project.
Very nice. And the last one, curiosity.
Oh, enlightenment, wonder. These are the words first that come to me.
It's probably the key words which grasp the meaning of the curiosity for you. Thank you so much. I mean, I would love to, ask questions from the different angles and dig deeper into the specific topics more and elaborate and ask questions about the meanings of the what do you mean by this and this term. But I think it needs to uh, take a break here and. I don't know. Maybe we didn't touch a particular aspects which you wanted to share during this podcast time, and you're more than open just to share with us right now. It's like any last words, any thoughts, any insights you want to share with people right now in business and people who are
Business. I say, if I'm going to speak up, it's for everything. Just if we all approach life and our circumstances with an open heart, an open mind, just an openness, and we focus on being heart-centered through this openness, it's already a very big accountability factor in how we transmit ourselves into the world and to each other. It's a communication.
it's always two, never one. Even with ourselves, I bet it's still you communicating with your some other parts of you. We have such bunch of parts, bunch of different aspects of ourselves, the
Just to
shadows.
release the perfection, though, because this is what an open heart and an open mind are, to release perfection. We can it is we can make mistakes, and accountability assists us to elevate from the errors that we make. So if I make a mistake or I do something that I'm not quite sure because it was new for me, or maybe I'm working through something, I'm going through something right now, then accountability, and that accountability, depending on what the circumstance is part of the changes that you will make in your life. So
dare to be vulnerable, to take responsibility for your own
yes,
life, basically, for your own wishes and needs.
exactly.
Mm. Such a pleasure to have you. Such a profound conversation, and I'm hoping that the listeners are, gaining so much insight, so much maybe different thoughts are keep bubbling in their head, and it's just, this conversation, they can take it as a inspiration to ask questions and look for the answers for themselves in order to
Yes, so nice.
to
So nice.
mm,
Such a beautiful, that's the most beautiful. Ask questions and see what comes up, and then share your thoughts with others and people who are on the same trajectory as you, or people who are not. Get perspectives, merge them all, but follow your own inner guidance.
for sure. Questions are welcome towards our side as well. So
Yes,
please
always.
ask all questions you have, to our guest, and then to our guest in the future as well. So let's engage, let's communicate, let's have a discussion so that you will find different angles of your answers. Rebecca, I bet that some of the people would love to contact you or to find what how to get in touch, and what kind of retreats and sessions you organize. So maybe you can share of your few words
Yes,
of
of
how to
course.
contact you.
Thank you. I have a website, the Maltese Mystic Yogi, and the Vital Energy Alignment website. Also, the Gemstones Grotto for people who are interested in either crystals, Kundalini activation, or everything that I do under one umbrella at the Maltese Mystic Yogi. I have some retreats coming up this year in May. Beautiful Recoding Nourishment retreat, which will be held on the island of Gozo. It's a 6-day, 5-night retreat. I will be hosting there. Um, I do sessions, private and group sessions every month. There is full moon, new moon. There's Kundalini activation with sound healing here in Malta. And in April, I will be in Lithuania for 3 weeks, collaborating with some wonderful people. Hopefully, Simona is going to be putting up these dates and events very soon for us to
For
share
sure,
with
for sure.
everybody. And I hope that people will be able to reach out to me on my pages on Facebook and Instagram if they wish to. It will be nice to connect with whoever wants to reach out.
We definitely will share all this information underneath the podcast and in our social media. So keep just like dig deeper into the descriptions boxes, so you will find all the necessary information you want to have. So
Okay.
once again, thank you so much. It's uplifting. It's uplifting. It's motivating even me, because it's like I'm feeling that somebody's joining my mission as well, to bring people together and to inspire them to see that the collaboration is our future. So I'm very thankful, Rebecca, for you to being here. And
Thank you for the opportunity. I'm really grateful and very humble. So nice to be able to share and to be here with you all.
blessed, blessed. Aren't we all blessed just to meet people like this in our
Yeah,
lifetime?
thank you.
Thank you, Rebecca, and thank you all for until this moment, staying with us and being in that vibe, in that energy together. And well, keep following us. It's it's a change for the best culture as well. So keep following us for the new content on the best culture. Thank you so much for listening.
Biz Culture. This is the podcast about the meaning of concepts in business.